Hey everyone, it's Raz from the Semi-Retired Samurai. I hope you're doing well, no matter where you are in the world. So today I want to talk about nostalgia, and just wondering if all you 50-somethings, Gen Xers, are feeling nostalgic after watching a video, because uh, I came across a video the other day that showed a high school a high school graduation from the 80s. And I started getting all these videos popping up from about the 80s, the music, the pop culture. And I got I think a Facebook post about candy bars that are no longer around. And some of them I totally forgot about. And I thought, wow, that's crazy, because I remember this stuff. So I showed it to my wife, and I said, do you remember these candy bars? And she's like, oh, yeah. That one was really gross, and this one tasted awful, and remember this, remember that. And start thinking back to those times. And, at first when I watched it, I was kind of like, wow, it brought back these feelings of warmth and the feelings I had at the time. And I don't know about you, but after watching it, the initial, I guess, warmth and feeling that I got, I started feeling a little bit down and almost depressed, because, you think about it, it's like, wow, I'm 50 now, over 50, and I'm going to be turning 57 pretty soon. And I thought to myself, well, where did all the time go? It just seemed like yesterday that I was, walking across the high school floor, getting my diploma, and retirement just seemed so far away. It was just, I remember my uncle was looking for a job. He just graduated from computer science, and he was having a tough time finding work. And then he finally found a job at age 23 with the government. And he was recently retired, took early retirement at 55. And I thought, wow, it just seemed like yesterday I was sitting there, asking him about his job hunt, and now he's spending time taking care of his grandchildren, which was just kind of blew my mind. And so the initial warmth that I felt watching the videos turned to sadness, and I thought to myself, man, I don't have that much time left when you think about it. How much time I have left of my healthy years, I don't know. Even though I do keep in very good shape, I can't help but wonder, how much time I have on this earth, and have I done enough? Have I accomplished all the things I wanted to do? And do I want to leave this earth with things that I set out to do that I didn't get a chance to do? So I start to think about, just feeling. I just started feeling sad, and I felt sad for a while, thinking about, all these, my youth and all these years that have passed by. And lately I've been trying to come to grips with these feelings, and I start to learn some valuable lessons from, nostalgia, and looking back at those times, and how I can turn this feeling of sadness into something positive moving forward. So there's a few things that I learned during this time, and that is, nostalgia brings back a lot of memories, and it reminds us how fast time really moves, because we tend to take all these things for granted when we're in our 20s and 30s, and we always think that, wow, retirement's such a long time away. I got lots of time, and then boom, it's here. And I think what I realize is all the places that I loved growing up, all the memories I have, they're all, a lot of those places are gone now. I mean, I often go back to my hometown, and I go back to restaurants that I used to frequent as a child, and the owners, a lot of them have passed on. They no they no longer own the restaurant or something like that, and their kids haven't taken it over because they've gone on to other professions. And so I go back there and eat the meal, and it doesn't taste the same like I remember as a kid. The recipes changed. Maybe the new owners don't take as much pride in the food as the original owners did. And so I think that a part of me, feels kind of sad when I taste the food, and it's like, wow, this is not the same. And I think the one thing that taught me was it brought me clarity on how precious time is. And looking back at it, if I had to go back again, I probably wish I didn't waste as much time as I did on things that didn't really matter. And I wish I had spent more time with the people I loved who are no longer here. And, I think about that all the time. And I think about them all the time. And I wish that they were here so I can talk to them, have more time with them to get to know them even better on a deeper level. And unfortunately, they're no longer on this earth. So, those things really get to me. And I think another thing I learned is just letting small things go. I mean, sometimes I think when you have a disagreement with an individual, and you look back at it, and you wonder, like, why did you spend so much time getting upset over something like that? Because now at this age now, I wouldn't even waste my time if I feel that the person is not really contributing to my life on a positive level. Then I'll just walk away from them and not associate with them again. Instead of just wasting time and sitting there and arguing with them over something that was not going to get resolved. So those are probably the things the first lesson I learned. And the next one that I learned about nostalgia is that, the sadness, thinking back those times, can really eat you up. And, like I said, when I went back home to visit, I'd go to these restaurants, but I also go back to my old neighborhood just to see, where my childhood home is, and so much of the area, even though there's a lot of things that look the same, there's a lot of things that look different. The houses are all remodeled and upgraded, and I think back to the old neighbors that used to live in the area, and now they're all gone. And those things take me back in time, but it's also give me some comfort and remind me not to live in the past. And even though I'm in my 50s now, and I'm heading to the latter part of my life, I think what it helps me do is to not dwell and live in the past so much, to acknowledge it, to appreciate it, and to just look back on the fond memories. But also, I don't want it to stop me from enjoying the present. And for a little bit there, I was getting really down about being in my 50s, getting older. But I've got renewed excitement now because it's reminded me to live in the present, and that it's important to have a purpose and to set goals. I think a lot of people, when they're in their 50s and are heading towards retirement, they think, well, this is it for me. I've got nothing left to contribute, and it's too late. Too late to start a new exercise regimen. Too late to start a side hustle business, or too late to do the things that I want to do when I was younger. And that's so far from the truth. I think what it's done for me now is given me a set of goals to achieve. And I'm also not under a lot of pressure to do it either, because now it's going to be done on my own terms and own timelines. So I've started a side business, and that's really what's pushing me right now. And also, set goals for travel as well. I'm giving myself permission to go out, travel, and experience those new things, and to just get out of my normal routine, because I think a lot of times we get stuck doing the same things over and over again. So I want to bring back those feelings of when I was a kid, and everything was simple. I only had to just go to school, concentrate on my studies, and to... Sorry about that. My audio just kind of cut out there. So the point I want to make is that nostalgia can really make you long for the good old days, as per se, and you want to be able to create that feeling of and I guess think about what you learned during that time, and what made it so special, and why you feel those special feelings. And as I mentioned earlier, you want to travel, because that will allow you to experience new things. And also in retirement or semi-retirement, you also reduce your commitments, because you're not working anymore, or you're working less. And so everything's a lot more simple now, just like when you were as a kid. So you've gotten a free pass to do the things that you want to do. And another thing that's important that I kind of got away from when I was working a lot was to reconnect socially with people and friends, because I find often a lot of times when I finish work and I come home for the weekend, I don't want to talk to people because I'm around people all the time, and I just want to be by myself and just stay at home. But it's really not that healthy, because when you do semi-retire or retire, your social networks actually disappear. You realize how small they are because people don't call you anymore. So reach out to that friend, call them, and that you haven't seen for a long time. So say, hey, you want to go for dinner, or go for a lunch or something, catch up, or even host. I spoke to my wife. I said, let's host some more dinner parties and have people over at our place, because we haven't had people at our house for a long time, and just to get people around to talk again. Because especially today with technology and everything, everyone's in their phones, and they're really not connecting anymore and sitting around the dinner table and sharing stories. So that's what I learned from these nostalgic 80s videos that keep popping up on my feed, and that. I think a lot of people, I see a lot of comments people make, says, oh, I wish I can go back in time. Those were the best days of my lives. And maybe it was, but I think it's important to cherish those memories, but to remember not to, dread the present as well, because there's lots of positive things that we can get from being in our 50s. And I think, if you live in the past and live in the 80s or the 90s or during that time and get stuck back there, you're not going to be able to enjoy the present. And I think one day you're going to regret it, because when you're 80 or 90, we can hope to get to that age, and your health declines, and maybe you cannot walk as far, your health is not good, you've got pain in your knees, then you're going to look back upon your 50s and 60s and say, wow, that was one of the best times of my life, and I wish I could go back to my 50s and 60s. But you can only say that if you make a plan on how you're going to enjoy your 50s and 60s, to do all those things, travel, write a book, volunteer, do all these things that you put on your bucket list, but you delayed when you were working. So I hope that this video resonates with you and inspires you to go out and do all the things that you always want to do as a retiree. And if you like this video, please feel free to like or share, and please check out my next video. All right, talk to you soon. Take care.